Spencer, my pincer, celibate Spencer. I never thought you would sink so low as to absolutely simp for some of the biggest grifters on YouTube because you have been corrupted by your association with these degenerate clowns. We all know the drama with FTX. YouTubers were paid exorbitant sums of money to encourage people to sign up for a scam brokerage known as FTX. And guess what happened? Everybody on there probably lost all of their freaking money. We shall see. I'm going to react to this video, and I'm going to tell Spencer how it is and how his judgment has been 100% corrupted by his affiliation with mega scammers and degenerates. Let's go.
A lot of finger pointing is happening right now as FTX crumbles, and we need to find out who to blame. Since I am the influencer who created T-Rex Inu in order to scam someone, I am the most qualified person to speak on this subject. The finance YouTubers who promoted FTX are under fire right now. They were paid money to promote a company that ultimately went bankrupt and caused customers to lose money. A lot of videos are attacking them. Are they to blame? There is one bad actor here. Sam Bankman-Fried is essentially a degenerate gambler who got greedy and lost. Everyone involved is now taking the blame for one man's actions. FTX had signed a 19-year deal with the Miami basketball arena for $135 million. It was set to be called FTX Arena until 2040. That deal went up in flames. During last year's regular season, the Miami Heat had an attendance of over 800,000 people. In 2022's Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat in a close Game 7. The game averaged nearly 10 million people watching, with an estimated peak of over 12 million. In case some of you don't watch sports and aren't sure why I mentioned ratings, what do you notice about this image? Between the live audience, people who watched highlights on YouTube, and anyone unaccounted for, we're talking 15 million people being advertised FTX in one night. Major League Baseball has signed a long-term partnership with FTX, making the first time that a North American pro sports league has partnered with a cryptocurrency exchange. The global partnership makes FTX the official crypto exchange brand of MLB.
So he's showing all these different sponsorships and advertisements that FTX did. But Spencer, remember, we are on YouTube. We care about the YouTube community. That is all we focus on. And as YouTubers, we generally react to other YouTubers. And when other YouTubers in the finance sphere who claim to be good investors, who claim to be knowledgeable, and who have millions of subscribers who follow them, you don't think we're going to point the finger at them? Because remember, Spencer, I have been criticizing cryptocurrency since I went onto YouTube. I have been warning people about this freaking garbage since my channel's inception, since cryptocurrency was going to the moon. It did not matter if cryptocurrency went up or down. I told people it was fundamentally worthless trash, and you cannot trust these brokers. But here he is showing other people that, were sponsored by FTX and saying, well, it seems like everybody was involved. And at the end of the day, it's SBF's fault because he was the one that ultimately led the scam. Well, okay, I guess if you go back to World War II, you can't just blame you-know-who. You can only blame you-know-who. You can't blame everybody else that was complicit in that you-know-what. But we'll continue.
MLB umpires had an FTX patch on their uniforms during games. How many people do you think received an advertisement from FTX while watching MLB games? 5 million, 10 million, 20 million? TSM Esports signs $210 million sponsorship with FTX Crypto Exchange. TSM Esports has a global audience. They were getting $21 million per year for the next 10 years to be sponsored by FTX and advertised to their massive audience around the world.
So if you're a YouTuber in the finance space, shouldn't you possibly be aware of what a scam is? Because it seems to me that some kind of weird, sketchy brokerage that's, headquartered in the Cayman Islands is somehow spending millions and millions of dollars and showering YouTubers 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month, God knows how much for other YouTubers. You don't think those YouTubers should have known that something was off? Because these are the purported finance experts that reach millions of people on YouTube. But I guess not, because that money was just so sweet now, wasn't it?
F1 team Mercedes signed a multi-year sponsorship deal with FTX in September 2021. Yet another organization that had a massive worldwide audience sponsored by FTX. The first argument I'm presenting is that FTX had global sponsors with audiences exponentially larger than anyone sponsored on YouTube. From my perspective, if you're looking to place blame and you're a logical and reasonable adult and use a weighted scale, then finance YouTubers should receive such an insignificant amount that it's not even statistically important.
it is in this context because the people that are mad at these influencers watched their channels, and based on what happened on their channels, they decided to put their money in FTX. So somebody that learns about FTX from Major League Baseball, okay, maybe they'll be mad at the baseball team. If you learned about FTX from one of these YouTubers, yes, that is the person that introduced you to it, and you're most likely to point the finger at. We are in the YouTube sphere. I don't care what FTX did with Major League Baseball. I'm not a baseball commentator. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen were featured in this FTX ad as sponsors. Stephen Curry was also an official FTX sponsor as seen in this ad. This FTX ad featuring Larry David has been seen 46 million times. Tom Brady and Stephen Curry are scamming people. Do you understand how much bigger the reach and how much more influence these celebrities have than finance YouTubers? I'm not trying to tell you.
But those people aren't financial experts, okay? They aren't going on YouTube and saying they understand finance and they're trying to help their audience build wealth. The grifters that did promote this garbage, who you're friends with, yes, they have a responsibility to their audience, and they failed entirely, and they should be roasted because of it. And I guarantee you, Spencer, if you weren't friends with these guys, you'd be roasting them too. 100% guaranteed.
Who to blame. I'm just presenting the argument that if you were someone who's blaming influencers, then those who are reaching 50 to 100 million people probably are a little more at fault than someone with a fraction of the audience size.
I actually think it's worse than that. I talked to a lot of these guys and they were fooled. That's the scariest part. So many of these experts who are giving you guys advice totally bought into this Sam character as this genius billionaire, right?
I think CoffeeZilla makes an argument that many in the comment section do, which is finance YouTubers are supposed to be finance experts and they're giving financial advice and they should know better is essentially the argument. Investors who put $2 billion into FTX face scrutiny too. Venture capital firms and investment funds showered the failed crypto exchange and its founder with money. Forbes estimates Sequoia Capital invested $200 million. Paradigm, a fund focused on crypto and Web3 tech, invested an estimated $215 million. You have some of the smartest investors in the world investing $200 million into FTX, and somehow finance YouTubers should have known it was a scam?
I knew it was a scam right off the bat. It was obvious to me. And you can't just say, oh, well, this hedge fund invested or this, some of the brightest minds in finance invested. What percentage of that portfolio was it? Maybe it was just a speculative investment to try to make a quick buck. Who knows why those brokerage firms or whoever invested in FTX? But that still doesn't forgive all of these clowns on YouTube who encourage people to sign up for FTX. Because there are plenty of YouTubers out there who aren't a big fan of cryptocurrency. And even they, and I'm talking about Jeremy Lefufu, even he was sponsored by FTX when he wasn't a believer in it himself. Because he wanted the money. That's all that mattered to him, Spencer.
That doesn't really add up. I'm sorry, CoffeeZilla, but that's not an argument that holds any weight. Forbes provided a list of institutional investors who gave money to Bankrupt Boy. BlackRock was an investor in FTX. I'm fairly confident that they did more due diligence than anyone and couldn't predict the behavior of one individual. Forbes lists FTX as having 24 different top-notch auditors and financial firms providing services to ensure compliance in a well-run organization. The point I'm making is that if you're someone who is placing the blame on finance YouTubers, then you're stating that they should have known it was a scam, even though hundreds of people had full access to the company and didn't know what was to come.
It was obviously a scam. I saw it in about 5 freaking seconds. But nobody wants to listen to freaking me. Everybody wants to listen to the freaking clowns that have no idea what they're talking about. I don't care if they didn't see it. They are still responsible for putting people in there. People watched their videos and decided to sign up for FTX, and because of that, those people lost their money. And maybe next time these influencers should probably be more careful than to encourage their fans to put their money in a freaking firm that's headquartered in the Cayman Islands, that's run by some 30-year-old freaking doofus clown. please stop simping for your friends.
I think it exposes a big gaping flaw in this influencer world where it's not just the greed, it's just this systemic failure of people to recognize their own lack of expertise.
I strongly disagree with CoffeeZilla here because some of the smartest minds in the world were fooled by Sam because you can't predict what Sam pulled on everyone. Gary Gensler is the sheriff of Wall Street, so why couldn't he rein in Sam Bankman-Fried?
Sam Bankman-Fried, it appears from your calendar, on March 29th, 2022 at 4 p.m. came in and actually met with you.
In an ideal world, the SEC head would have spidey senses for fraudsters. Maybe he is complicit somehow too. And how are we all supposed to know? Even BitBoy Crypto acknowledges that someone being sponsored by FTX isn't the bad guy and that no one knew what was going on.
Well, of course BitBoy Crypto's gonna, oh yeah, it doesn't matter if you promote something that gets absolutely wrecked. Apparently, I mean, this isn't confirmed, BitBoy, I don't know. But apparently he was involved in some very sketchy scenarios now, wasn't he? But yeah, that's a trusted source you should listen to.
Just in, FTX Telegram admins released statements saying the exchange has been hacked. What we witnessed is one person committing some of the worst financial crimes of our time. SBF deserves to be in jail for defrauding millions of investors and customers and causing absolute financial mayhem. Look, I'm not here to tell you how to think or what to believe. I've just seen so much hate thrown towards finance YouTubers as if they were the problem.
They are the problem. I've been covering these clowns for the last 2 years. They are a bunch of incompetent, dumb, idiotic clowns and losers that have no idea what they're talking about. And they have led probably millions of people to lose vast sums of money in a bunch of worthless freaking garbage like cryptocurrency, NFTs, and garbage stocks. The influencers are the problem, and they should be regulated. You should not be able to go on YouTube and tell everybody this is going to 10x and that's going to 10x and basically give financial advice and charge for it in a lot of scenarios, because that is a massive grift and it is wrong. The influencers, especially your buddies, are the problem. I have been saying this, I've been screaming this from the top of my lungs ever since I started YouTube.
This is a situation where one bad actor has caused billions of dollars of harm and no one knew. Influencers are not the problem. I consider CoffeeZilla a good friend and I spoke to him on the phone for about an hour about this topic, but I strongly disagree with his video and I don't think it was fair to influence people into thinking finance YouTubers were the problem. What's funny is I was actually chatting with Tom Nash the night he received the offer to promote FTX and I told him he should partner with them. I'm friends with all of the influencers who promoted FTX, so if you want to get mad at finance YouTubers, you're more than welcome to be mad at me too.
There you have it.
Since it was such an obvious scam, apparently, then I'm an idiot too. The result of what happened in Sam's behavior is not what influencers were promoting. If you use a weighted scale, the percent of blame should be as follows: 100% on Sam Bankman-Fried and 0% on others. Keep in mind that everyone involved here has experienced damages. Every innocent customer has lost their funds. Finance YouTubers have experienced reputational damage.
Yes, as they should, because they're a bunch of clueless clowns and they should be kicked off the platform. Why don't you go watch some of my videos about these clowns? Everything that comes out of their mouth, I'll give Graham some credit. Most things he says aren't that bad. Everything that comes out of Andrei Jikh's mouth, everything that comes out of freaking Jeremy Lefebvre's mouth, a lot of stuff that comes out of me, Kevin's mouth, it's a bunch of garbage and they don't know what they're talking about. And yet they're still allowed to stay on YouTube and they get rewarded with more money, more sponsorships, more subscribers, and they even get to go on the freaking news. And all they do is screw people.
Tom Brady, Gisele Bündchen, Stephan Curry, and others have experienced financial and reputational damage. The Miami Heat and MLB have experienced damages as well. Even the venture capital firms are losers here as they lost multiple hundreds of millions of dollars. If you want to place blame, why not send it to all the numerous VC firms who funded Sam Bankman-Fried? I'd argue that without them, this whole fiasco never happens. With investing, there's variables that you can't predict or plan for, which is where risk comes in. In this case, no one could have predicted the CEO of an exchange would literally take all of his customers' funds and gamble it away.
100%. And we saw crypto exchanges collapse before FTX. We saw many exchanges collapse. Was that not an indicator that there's some kind of systemic problem? Have we not seen dozens, hundreds, thousands of pump and dumps in the crypto sphere? Have we not seen that this sphere seems to attract a bunch of freaking grifters and scammers that want to rip off their audience as much as possible? The signs were there. And as a finance YouTuber, you should know the basics of finance. Like, something that produces no cash flows has no value. It's a house of cards. It was obvious to anybody that had half a freaking brain. But these guys didn't care because they got money, money, money.
As I'm making this video, reports are saying that FTX getting hacked is likely by an insider, so it's entirely possible that Sam has now hacked into his own company to rug pull the last remaining funds before he goes on the run. If you're someone who has lost money and were influenced to buy crypto on FTX because of a finance YouTuber, it's totally understandable why you'd want to blame them. I love CoffeeZilla and told him I strongly disagreed with this video because when he puts out the video that he did, I think a lot of people are going to place their negative energy towards the wrong people. Andrei and Graham and others are taking a lot of heat right now, which I don't think is fair. Their intentions were never to scam people. They are not incompetent financially, and they certainly are not greedy influencers trying to match.
They're not incompetent financially, for the love of God. What are you talking about? Andrei himself admitted on his video when he apologized that he's freaking dumb and he's learning as he goes. That's not the person you want to listen to. And did you know, Spencer, after the collapse of FTX, Andrei Jikh still was shilling BlockFi after it collapsed. Can you explain that? That seems like straight up freaking greed to me now, doesn't it? Oh, but Strongman, he's just a hater. Yeah, why is he so mean to these YouTubers?
Maximize their income at the expense of their followers.
They do. They talk about the hottest trend. And for investing, if you're investing in the hottest trend, it's already probably overvalued. Everything they do, they cover the hottest trends, and they lose people money time and time and time again. Andrei Jikh and all these other clowns are contrarian indicators, 100%. They are ruled by the algorithm, and the algorithm is all about the latest fad. Now, I talk about the latest fad, and I dump on it, and that hurts my channel. But that's okay, because at the end of the day, I can sleep well at night.
If you're someone who thinks Andrei and Graham knowingly promoted a scam, then are you saying Stephan Curry, the Miami Heat, MLB, and their lead investors were scamming their fans too? If you aren't, then why not? Even the employees who were in the code base didn't know, but using the same argument, they're grifters out to scam the world too, I guess? In sports, when a team starts to lose or goes on a losing streak, everyone begins pointing the finger at each other looking to place blame. You're seeing this a lot with Russell Wilson right now.
Yeah, because I'm supposed to expect a bunch of football players to understand finance. They're known for their financial acumen.
Same thing happens when people lose money. Everyone wants to find someone to blame. Sam and whoever in his close circle are to blame. It's likely we're going to find out that it was a Bernie Madoff level of financial crimes and evil. I enjoy living in a world where everyone has a voice and everyone has the ability to make a video calling people scammers if they feel that way. We all should, because dissenting dialogue is healthy and how we move forward as a group. I want you to voice your opinion even if you disagree. I may even receive heat in the comment section. It's totally cool, as long as you argue using logic and reason and not emotions. My final argument is that there's no reasonable logical path pointing to finance YouTubers as being scammers for promoting what everyone believed to be a well-run operation. I hope you at least consider my argument before you run around calling my friends scammers.
That's the problem, Spencer. And you're friends with Jeremy Lefebvre, aren't you? Just watch my videos. You know, I don't even have to explain it right now. Watch my videos. You are friends with one of the most disgusting scammers I have ever seen in my entire life. And Andrei, who knows he doesn't know anything, goes on there and tells people like he is knowledgeable, and he acts like he's knowledgeable, and gives out a bunch of garbage financial advice. That, in my opinion, destroying people's financial future is disgustingly wrong. It is one of the worst crimes, because the losses that these people have suffered through listening to these clowns, not just through FTX, but through everything they say, could result in people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars of future money. It could result in people working way longer than they actually plan to. It could result in them spending less time with their grandchildren when they're older, because they have to work more because they listen to a freaking loser, or a bunch of losers like your friends are, and lost all of their money. That's it. Cheers!